Welcome to Kolorflow Conversations. I am Uakeisha, and this is
Tikisha.
Listen, this is a great day. Listen, I didn't think about this before, but today is August 1st.
It is.
And August is, I don't want to use the word emotional month for us. We both have an emotional day in August. Your mother's
Yeah, her death date.
her death date, and my mother's birthday. And I thought about that last night. Like, oh man, we're going into August. And I know before it has been a time of grieving for both of us. You more.
Yeah.
Because we talked about this before. I remember the day and the emotions and everything. Do you now look at it as a day of let me celebrate her life?
Absolutely not.
Really? How do you don't intentionally plan anything?
In the beginning, I think we tried to plan to do certain things, but it kind of that just drifted, where it was just like, oh, maybe we'll do balloons and, we wrote letters and did stuff like that.
Yeah.
But there's nothing planned, but I don't necessarily want to say celebration, because celebration gives more happiness than what I may feel.
Okay.
I am not in a dark, sunken place, grieving her like I used to.
Mm-hmm.
But I am still not all the way out of that.
I see. Mm-hmm.
And I may never be.
Mm-mm.
You know what I'm saying? But I do view death a little bit differently now. I understand, and I said this to you before when we watched Real Talk Kim, how she said mourn and move. I understand more of that now.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I wasn't moving. I was constantly mourning.
Yeah.
Every day it was almost an intentional mourning, if that makes sense. Because I wasn't doing anything else. I didn't try to do anything else. I was sitting in it.
Yeah.
And my situation, of course, is different, but keep in mind, I didn't have any young children. So I didn't have to worry about tending or keeping going.
Keeping busy.
And I had lost my job shortly after.
Mm-hmm.
So I was really able to sit in all of my grief. I'm grieving the experience that my son had from losing my mom, which was detrimental.
Yeah.
I'm watching him. So I'm grieving him and that version of him that no longer exists.
Yeah.
I'm grieving that quote unquote good job that I had. I filed bankruptcy during that time.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a lot to process during that time with losing my mother, the person who I would go through to figure out how to deal with life challenges. So I sat in it for a long time, but now I understand that death is inevitable. It's going to happen. And because I know that it's happened, and on the last episode, which would be last week, since we're recording 2 in 1, sitting, but I talked about my regret. I didn't say what it was on that episode, but I talked about it. And there's certain things that I regret because God had placed it on my spirit that I knew that my mom wasn't going to be here. But my actions did not follow what I was told. So it's in this moment now too that I even realize how I talked to you about, having a gift. That was a part of it, but I didn't look at it that way. It was just like I totally ignored it. So now that I'm walking in it full-fledged, I'm paying attention to it. So to follow up on that too, with the paths and the things that I choose, I'm conscious of every relationship that I have in my life. So if I was to lose anybody that I care about today, I am comfortable with where I left them.
Yeah. And that's important.
I was not comfortable with where I left my mother.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I still to this day want her to tell me, Tikisha, I love you. I talk to my mother every single day.
Do you?
She told me I love you when she was alive, every single conversation. A day didn't go by that we talked that we didn't say I love you too, but I still want to hear that. And I talk out loud to my mother. And I remember people would say, well, she's still with you. And I'll be like, well, where's she at? I don't see her. Don't tell me that. And I still to this day would not say that to somebody else.
Yeah.
But for me, working on my relationship spiritually and just getting closer to God, it calms me to say those things to her, like, Ma, you know what, I'm sorry. Because I still have those moments where I'm just like, Ma, I'm sorry. Or, Ma, I love you. Ma, I wish you was there. And I've never felt, because my sister can attest and say she's felt my mother's presence. I've never felt my mother's presence. So I still feel like that. Well, where's she at? You know, but in my heart, it's just this comfort that I feel that I'm going to say from God, because I don't know where it comes from. So to me, it just has to be from God that gives me a little bit of peace. And these last couple of days, I will say, God, like, can you let my mama know that I'm sorry? Let her know that I love her. Let her know. You know, if she can't hear me, because we can all talk about how this thing works, but don't none of us know how it works. We don't know nothing about death. You know, so I don't know how it works, but I know that I experience things in my day-to-day life that are well beyond believable things. The fact that it was a wild turkey in my backyard. You know what I'm saying? Like I've lived in that same city for well over 20 years. And it's just like, I ain't never seen this. And now this is in the flesh. You know, so it's things like that. I saw a picture the other day and I was telling to a client, I was just like, I don't know, for some reason I see Rosedale Park. And she said, oh, because I was in Rosedale Park today. So I believe in the unbelievable, but I still don't know if my mother can hear me.
Yeah.
You know, but I have a special place in my house where I have just her pictures, you know, her urn is on there, and I go and I talk and I say things because I want her to help my family. You know what I'm saying? Those prayers that she's prayed while she was here, I want those prayers to still be in existence while she's not here. So I don't know when, I believe it's Tuesday or Wednesday. I don't even know. I don't know how I'm going to feel that day, because there's days now where I still think of her and I cry. I don't get to where I'm not mobile. I'm moving. But I'm still mourning. I'm mourning and I'm moving. I'm moving. You know, but it's never going to be easy, because it's always things that happen that make you think of your mom that you want to share. You know, and if I'm being transparent, there's things going on in my family right now that I'm not going to discuss on the podcast, but it's just like, if my mother was here, how would this be? Different.
It would be different. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, but at the same time, again, I stand in my comfortability on where I'm at, because I don't hate anybody. I'm not talking about anybody behind their back. And like I said, quite honestly, the only two people I'm really thinking about every day is me and Jordan, because I see Jordan every day. And I have this weird obsession with him where he's always on my mind. And honestly, like I told you the other day, yesterday, I think, where I was just like, I asked God to take away my feelings. Like, that is so much bigger than what you know, because I asked him to take away that from him too. Because I worry about him like never before. And it's fucking abnormal. like he just going to the store. There's no reason that you're sitting there and you're paranoid about his route to the store, going to the store and coming home.
I'm the same way.
But this is my truth.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I think it's just a mother, which is why you have a strong connection to your mother, because that's how I am with my son. I can relate to that.
And my mother was like that with me. That's why she didn't want me to go away to college. Mm-hmm. She didn't want me to leave. Mm-hmm. I get it now. I didn't get it then, but I get it now. And that was one of the things that she said she regretted. You know, because who knows what path my life would have. But at the end of the day, I believe that I'm right where I need to be. Mm-hmm. I'm right where I need to be. It doesn't matter if I didn't go away to college and get a degree, because I'm a whole grown ass adult. Whatever I want to do, I can do it. I cannot place blame on what my mama didn't let me do. Yeah. At some point, you got to hang that up.
Yeah, you got to.
We got to hang up what our parents did or didn't do. Because again, like we say all the time, everything that we're going through and everything that's happened has been at that place that was the decision and the actions at that place. At any point in time, we can change something.
Yeah.
Because I do have a heart of forgiveness. I'm not going to forgive the cheating husband, but I have a heart of forgiveness.
I think you were
I was forgiving him, but I wasn't staying married to him.
You're forgiving him, but you're not staying married to him.
Right. Because I'm not in the Old Testament. I don't want to be amongst the wives. You know, even though I'm believing in the combination, I don't want to be amongst the wives. So I'm going to forgive, because we grow and we say things, and some things are said out of anger, and some things are said because we insecure and they want to make us feel better, because we out here bragging and boasting, and now we feel good because we didn't put somebody else down.
Puffing yourself up.
It's just
puffing yourself up.
Yeah, so it's just like I don't even want people to look at me based on things that I've done for them. Mm-hmm. Like, well, she did this. That don't even matter. Because anything that I've done for anybody, I did it out of the kindness of my heart. I'm not looking for accolades. And at one point in my life, I felt like I was. Like, well, I did that. I did this for you, and you mean to tell me this is how you treat me, and I've been there for you?
Yeah.
I don't even care nothing about that, because so what? Mm-hmm. I did what I did because that's what I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. And that's what I could do. Because again, God places people in our lives, no matter who they may be at that time. But that doesn't mean that I'm always going to be that pawn for you to use. You know what I'm saying? God will shift it up.
I think that I think about death way more than the average person. You probably do too. I don't know. Ever since my mother passed. And so when you talk about your son and how you like have this strange, I'm the same way.
It's like I don't have anxiety, but I have anxiety when it comes to my son.
Yeah, well, both.
That's my big trigger.
And think about, I have two, so I have anxiety with both. And I literally, when they leave, I don't care if they leave in him driving or somebody else, I literally say out loud, because I don't know if that's my last time seeing them. God, please protect them from hurt, harm, or danger. Cover them and let them come back home safely. When I leave, I do the same thing. Because in my mind now, when I think about death, especially since my mother has passed, that somebody is next.
Yeah, that's me. Like, it's always the next. Who's going to be next?
Who's next?
Who's next?
Who's next?
Because there's a next.
There is a next. And I don't know if that next is going to be within my household or somebody that's affiliated with me's household. But I try to leave it in a way that's positive for us. And I don't again have expectations. When they were flying home last night, I knew they was at the airport. Last week I saw a complete family got killed in a plane crash. The Nelons, I believe it was, a gospel group. Mother, father, daughter.
Oh, wow.
Everybody. I had never heard of this group before. I got a search their music because I haven't been listening, but they were traveling to perform. And one surviving daughter was not on the plane because she's pregnant, her and her husband are expecting a baby, but she's left to bury her mother, her father, her sister. And I think about stuff like that when I see it, like, I wonder if they, you know, said their last words in preparation of, just in case this is our last time seeing each other, I love you. So when I leave my children, because they're really the only ones that, like you, that I have that feeling with. But I do the same thing with my sister and my father when I can remember, but I always think about, if this is my last time seeing them.
Yeah, I constantly pray over my family. We talked about this. Like, we pray over them, but it's that when they're that when my son, that child is walking out the door.
Girl.
And my mind, I talk about it all the time, how I can be my own worst enemy. And something about my brain always wants to go to the negative.
Yeah.
So I have to consciously reel it back in, or I have to deliberately do something that's a distraction, which is probably why I read so many books, because I need something that's a distraction, because once I get in my head, I can create,
a whole
scenario. And I talk about my sister, like, girl, you coming up with all these scenarios, because she can have a situation that's happening and she'll create the scenarios like, oh, well, that started making me wonder about this. Mine don't be nothing that's happening. Everything is fine, peachy king. I got everything under control. And here I am just like
thinking about something like,
oh my God.
But I also think that happens because of the spiritual side of us. Like, you ain't gonna take no deep dive thinking about that unless you just know, like, y'all ain't thinking deep enough in this. That's how I am now. I'm like, I'll be sitting there like, ain't nobody thinking about this in this room but me. That's how it be, like, literally.
Let me ask you this, and not to cut you off, but you said something on the last episode about your spiritual conversations. How is that for you? Because I feel like I don't even know, because I almost want to be like, I feel like I don't talk to nobody, but I guess at the same time I do, but I often wonder like how I'm perceived. And I wonder how I'm perceived, not like, oh, I care what they think about me, but I wonder if they be like, that Tikisha is crazy.
Well, it's not like a lot of people. It's literally like,
because my circle is very small that I talk to.
It's very, very small. It's not even like a handful.
Mine
is. And like last night, I was reading again. I've been reading about David, and I text my one friend randomly like, "Man, I've been in church all my life, and ain't nobody preached about this part of this." Because I be thinking, y'all preaching about the same. Oh, I think I text you too at the same time. I text both of y'all back to back because I was just so almost devastated that I get these popular titles and these hook lines, and you and that person could relate, and they text me back and was just like, yeah, that's why I have a hard time when I'm at church, because I intentionally, and I do the same thing, I intentionally try and go searching for more and not going to be judgmental. And when you are having this spiritual side where you take religion out of it, it's hard to do that. It's hard to, it always comes off as judgmental, because I went to church recently and I was just in there like, it's just a show. It's just, and I don't want to waste my time. I could have been at home reading my Bible, having a fellowship
101.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And I hate to come off like I am dogging the church, but I think that I believe that we as I'm a believer, but Christians have taken the word, the pure word of how he wants you to live and how you should live. And we talked about last time the path you should take completely out of it. It's more like, come on, I want y'all to take 15 seconds to give God your best praise. Give God your highest praise. Give him the size of the praise you want the blessing to be. Go ahead, give him that. And then everybody, yeah, yeah. Then it calm down, and then your praise is over. And it's like, okay, now we're going to let this choir sing an A and B selection. I just desire more than that. And so my irritation that I'm trying not to have with that, the popular, because of things that I feel like I'm reading about, I'm like, why is nobody talking about this? Why ain't nobody talking about this? I'm like, what? Why ain't nobody talking about these stories that I'm reading? Like y'all talking about the stories, but y'all taking the hook lines, from the stories, and I can't have the hook lines and the popular titles, and my text is about to be this, and everybody, oh yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, say it, Pastor.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
my heart just desires more, and when I waste my time, because that's what I feel like I'm doing, and I'm like, man, I could have been at home having a 101 with God, and and I guess being the church girl, I'm trying not to just seem like I'm dogging the church, because a lot of people treat their church like a cult. My pastor, my first lady, my pastor, my first lady, my pastor, I mean, like,
yeah.
I'm not saying your pastor and your first lady are not good people, but
It's the pedestal.
put God on that pedestal. God is the one, not the pastor and that first lady. God is the one. And we do things to, like, oh, we're going to help these people do this. We're going to have, and you helping within your circle, yes. And some people feed the homeless every now and then, but what are we really doing to help people? I just have a desire for more. I just have a desire for more. And when I think about it, brings me back to thinking about death. Like, I don't know if the word is Sally, but when I think about it, I'm like, I gotta know that my life, when I leave here, that, I was right with God.
Yeah.
Not right with these people. I don't, not that I don't care about people, because I love all the people that's around me and I love everybody. I try to show
That's what I was saying, because one of my friends last week, she was just like, oh, you said something and I do that to you. And I was just like, oh, I'm sorry. I said, because you'll watch the podcast and think that I really hate everybody in my life, because I complain about a lot of stuff, but it's not that. It's because I genuinely love and care about everybody, but there's so many things that it's just like I'm not really thinking about or focusing on. I'm so focused on me and trying to be right and to do things that I feel like I'm being spirit led to do.
That part.
Because I'm so sick of making bad decisions and dealing with those consequences.
That part. That's the part of it that I understand.
And that's the thing where it's just like, it's not about, because I always talk about luxury and stuff. It's not about even getting to the glitz and glamour. It's just about waking up every day and being at peace, knowing that my basic needs are met and I'm not arguing with nobody, stressed out at no job, all of these things that we don't realize consequences of certain actions.
Yeah. Consequence of our actions. Everything.
Yes. So I try to be focused, almost kind of like tunnel vision in what I'm doing.
Yeah, same. Tunnel vision. And being that I work with the public more, it's even I'll say challenging. I won't use the word hard. It's even more challenging because people have known me to be this way, and he's actually removing, I would even say, certain clients from me and bringing a different caliber of client to me for how I'm living, if that makes sense. But some of my clients that I've had long term that's still coming, our conversations are just glorious to me. Like it's changed where it's so positive and not negative or anything. And I don't know if I said this last week, but I had a client come last week, and when I laid my hand on her head to start, well, I didn't really, I laid it on there, but not mistakenly, but I was preparing her eyes to do her lashes. And she said, while your hand is on my head, pray for me. And I just started praying for her, because you never know why somebody, and no, that has never happened to me before. I was doing, and she was like, while your hand is on my head, pray, say a prayer for me. I was like, come on, God, Lord. But you know what I'm saying? But when your life starts to change that way, that's me being in fellowship with God. I'd rather do that than be sitting there in a entertainment show. And not saying everybody's entertainment, because me and my sister was actually talking about the church that you love.
Okay.
And she was telling me about the Sunday school class y'all used to go to.
Oh my God, me and Tanya would leave there feeling like we literally could fly. Like you couldn't tell me that I did not have wings and could not go up and fly.
She told me about that class, and she was like, she said y'all wasn't even supposed to be in that class. Y'all supposed to be in a different class.
Yeah, we were supposed to be in a different class.
But y'all chose that class because y'all were learning so much. And I said, that's the feeling I want to have at church.
Yeah, I didn't even necessarily need to go to the sermon after that.
That's what she said.
Yeah, it was just like that was it.
She said that and I was like, do that lady still teach that class? And she was like, I don't know. I ain't been there in years. I was like, I feel like I want to go up there and sit and see, because the way she talked about that class, and she was like, girl, me and Tikisha, and I think Tiffany would be in the class too. And her friend, rest in peace, Tracy, would be in that class.
Yes, Tracy would be in that class.
She said that all of y'all would go to that Sunday school class and just have a yearning to hear more. And I said, that's what we need. And sometimes it's those small classes that be more helpful than the hook line sermons. And she said that she was like, man, that lady used to teach us. She said a lot of things that y'all talk about now is things that I remember learning in that class.
So let me ask you this. Do you think that you would ever want to branch off and you do something like that? Not saying like, maybe I shouldn't say you, maybe I should say us, like together. Or however, I don't know how to say it. So damn, I hate when I talk in circles. I be talking so fucking stupid.
Oh God. I wrote that down. Remember I told you I was writing down stuff? That was something that I wrote down. And you and I talked about this a little, maybe about a month ago, about an idea that I have that now I'm about to put into action, because I think that we don't have enough where we just sit around and talk about these things in real time.
And how we can incorporate them into our lives now.
How we can incorporate it into our lives now.
Especially with reading Proverbs, because Proverbs is so easy to reflect in your day-to-day certain lessons. Yeah.
In your day-to-day life. In your everyday, and it's something in there for everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody. And I'm like, I don't think we have enough of, and I'm sure churches still have Bible classes, but I've never heard somebody talk with such passion like my sister talked about that class.
Yeah, because I will even say, that class, I've never experienced anything like that.
Really?
Ever. Never. I love her.
I wonder if she still teach. I'm gonna find out. But it was taught by a woman.
Yes.
which is, something else that is an issue in the church.
In the church.
Some of my favorite ministers are women. Some of my clients that's pastor churches are women.
I even remember experience being at church and I don't know, the podium thing. I don't know if it got a particular name, but I remember like when the woman would come in, she wouldn't be allowed
to stand up there.
She would have to
stand off to the side. Mm-hmm. That went. I mean, that went on in our church growing up. That women probably didn't get in the pulpit until my daddy retired. They were allowed up there on Women's Day, the fourth Sunday in October every year. I don't know if they still have Women's Day that Sunday, but that was the day that all the women could come and they can speak, not preach, but speak and, control the service, I guess, be in charge of the service. But I know some women, we are actually going to have one on one day soon, that are powerful in their message. And sometimes I think women are known to be more emotional, so they don't feel like, women should do certain things because they put their emotions in it. Just like we have Kamala that's running for president. They probably think that she's more, but sometimes your emotions about the word comes across better because some of y'all are trying to be too collegiate with your words, if that makes sense. To, I'm proper and this is what it is, and you know what I'm saying? But when you can, and there are some men who could come across as emotional too, don't get me wrong, but some of the women I know could come across just pouring their soul out, their emotions out about God, and it just comes just so passionately where you can understand, like, I feel that, and it can make you want to change your life. Like this Bible class, though, this Sunday school class y'all went to, because I ain't never go, so I don't know.
Yeah, I was encouraged every week. Like I said, I literally remember telling Tanya, like, I can fly.
Really?
Like, that's the best example I can use, because it was just like, it really didn't matter what life threw at me because I knew I could get through it. I knew I could get through it.
Yeah. And I don't want it to be a routine, which is why I don't force my children to go, because I don't want it to become a routine. But when we go, it's so, I want to use the word funny. My kids went to church without me recently. And with us studying and learning at home, you taking the word with you when you go. They learning that part. So they went without me, and my daughter texted me, was like, "Ooh, child, your son is feeling it in here." And it was in our group chat. And my nephew texted like, "Yeah, his feet got light." And I said, "What happened? Did y'all video?" And my mind instantly went to, why would I want them to video him in worship and praise? Like, as a mother, you want to see your child.
But it's just like you want to see it. Yeah.
You want to see, but
it's not a show
but
to
it's
video.
Not a show to video. And they were like, "No, we ain't video," And then when he came home, he was like, "Yeah, I was feeling it. And that part, that innocent worship and praise, when you learning about God, and that's what it should be. Not because I wanted to see it, but I'm glad I wasn't there. I'm glad to know that you can give God some praise even when I'm not there. And this people, it was a church they had never been to, nobody knew them, and you wasn't ashamed to do it. That's that part. And he was like, "Yeah, my feet got light." I said, "Was he dancing like David?"
That is funny.
Yeah, but I just desire more. And I do believe that we're going to start having some type of class. And not that I'm going to teach it. I think we're just going to talk about God.
I think it's just like a group setting.
I think
You know, especially because, like we say all the time, how I process stuff is not how you process
yeah,
it.
so it's different. It's different
And what
because
I
yeah,
wish is just like, can I get some more female stories in the Bible? Like, why is that so limited?
well, and that's why women are
Again,
looked
that's
at.
why I'm gonna be here so long, because God is not ready for me. He ain't ready for all these questions.
While you talking about more females, I think that because we've been looked at as
The
stay
lesser,
under, the lesser,
yeah.
you stay below, the man is the head, and you are the follower, and you shouldn't be up in front talking. You shouldn't be in leadership. And in some areas, a man absolutely should be the leader.
I most definitely agree with that.
He absolutely should. But when it comes to talking about God, I believe that God wants his message to come across from
For all kinds,
from
yeah,
everybody.
yeah.
From everybody. I don't think I don't believe. Some gonna argue. I don't believe that it's a thing where I have to stay quiet and let a man tell me about God. Really?
Excuse me.
I've had.
I ain't birthed in a long time.
You have not. It's been
Ooh,
about 3 episodes
okay.
since you.
What that mean? See what I'm saying?
Confirmation.
See what I'm saying? It be simple things like my mind goes straight to what that mean. What's that for? But I want to agree with you with what you're saying, and I just feel like that across the board, because when I be like I'm me, I'm me. Like this is for my own understanding.
Yeah.
I don't want you to preach or talk at me and me to adapt what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like that with almost everything.
Mm-hmm. You are.
I'm like that with almost everything. It's not even just a, religious based thing. I'm like that with everything. The only thing that you probably gonna get me to go along with is mathematics. I'm probably gonna trust that 1 + 1 = 2. But sometimes I be wondering about that. Like, who came up with it being 2? I'm just saying, my brain, it be in overload. That's why I'm like, God, take all of this away. I don't want to be brain dead, but give me some relief because from thinking. I need some relief from thinking because I am constantly always thinking about something.
Yeah.
Even while we're doing this, my brain is thinking about some 10 steps ahead. That's why I lose thought on what I'm going to say.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's always going.
I don't, my mind don't be going like that. It goes more now since I'm, like this, but I don't, when I read the Bible and it be like, why they have these wars? I be wondering, like, why did y'all?
Yeah, because they be having wars. It'd be a lot of killing.
Who they be killing?
They be killing.
And I'd be like, why did you have these wars? Why did you have slaves? Why? And I think like that when I'm reading. I don't think like that like
all day long, like me. All day long. All day long.
No, I don't think like that. I think like that when I'm reading, because I will go back and read like, why did David have to kill 20,000 men? And then I'll be thinking about, because the path the men took, they was against God. It makes sense to me after I think about it, but why did you have to kill him? I'm like, because even when they was carrying the ark of God to the temple, and I got this message last night, and the guy, like, they was carrying it on a donkey.
Are you reading Samuel?
They was carrying on a donkey, and the donkey like slipped, and the man like tried to balance it, and God got mad because he felt like they was handling it wrong, and he struck that man down, and he died right there. How you handle him? I'd be like, oh, so I be getting.
And see, that'd be the other thing where I'd be like, y'all do know that it's like some vengeful. Like, he ain't even unicorns and rainbows. Like, I'm scared. Fear the Lord.
Listen, my path is about to be straight. It's on the straight and narrow.
How do you think, so as we've been talking about paths and being straight, how do you know if your path is going straight? Like if someone was to ask you, like, how do I get on this path where I know, what would you tell them that they needed to do? Do you know?
I would tell them they need to forgive. Obedience start with forgiveness, forgiving yourself, forgiving others, and believing. Because until you truly forgive, and when I say forgive, I mean think about, we all have different stories in our life, different scenarios, different whatever. Um, that was the path for me to get to this point, to forgive, um, and love your neighbor, love God. And until you can really get to that, because unless you're really sure, it's hard to show love to people that get on your nerves, or that you really don't like, or that really ain't a good person, or that you feel ain't a good person.
Right.
But the not a good person could just be the path that they took, and you got to love them in spite of. So, and explaining it to people, because I actually said this to somebody before, and they just looked at me like, yeah, no, I too many people done did me wrong. Too many people done uh, talked about me, or stole from me, or this and that, and I ain't, And I'm like, you gotta let it go.
But I don't know if but is the right thing I want to say. I feel as though for me, it had to do with a lot of releasing control
Mm.
because I want to control everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always been like this type A personality. So my biggest thing was to just release and learn more of going with the flow of things.
So let me ask you this. It may not be the same for everybody, depending on who you are and what your character is.
Exactly.
It will be different for
Yes.
each person.
But I definitely believe the core is forgiveness.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even know if I want to use the word forgiveness, because I feel like I want to use letting go. Because I don't know if it's necessarily something that I want to forgive, or if it's just like I said, I don't want to replay those scenarios in my head.
Letting go could be right.
So it's just like I just want to let go. You know what I'm saying? Because I might not have been angry. You know, like I said, I understand now why my mom didn't send me away to school. So I'm no longer sitting in that, like, I remember I worked part-time. You had to pay for college applications. I spent all my money applying for college applications and got accepted everywhere across the United States of America. And I was proud of that. You know, I wanted to go to Spelman. That was my number one pick. So when I got that admission letter, like, I was excited. But I'm no longer holding on. But it's not like I needed to forgive my mother for not letting me go to college. It's just like I'm just letting go and accepting, like, that just wasn't it. So for me, it just was a lot of releasing things and just accepting it for what it is. And not even, and I guess what I want to say is not forgiving, because I'm not even mad or bothered. I'm just accepting that person for who they are and where they are in their life. And you can only hurt me if I allow you to hurt me. And that took me a very long time to understand that. Like, you're allowing this. So you have to be strong within yourself to put almost like that shield, that whole armor, that where it's just like, I'm comfortable, you know, with what I did. And like we said, we pray through it. We pray through being convicted on certain things and ask for forgiveness. And I ask God to lead me on, if, like you said, if there's somebody I felt I needed to apologize to, no. But I pray and ask God, like, if it is, place it on my spirit, so that I will do that.
So last episode we talked about that, and you said that you apologized to your son's father. God's placed in your spirit to apologize to him?
Yes.
And told you why you were apologizing?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because I knew the role that I played in that. It might not have been outwardly, you know what I'm saying? But I knew the role. I knew that I could have done better because it got to a point where I was just accustomed to doing it by myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't even trying.
Yeah.
You know, and I can't place the blame, or for me, it's not even like, well, he wasn't trying. People can say that, but that's not on me. It's not on me what he didn't do.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when I say I release and let go, because on me, I know that I didn't try harder. Now, if he accepted it, would have been something different. Our path, again, would have changed and would have went differently. But we were both like, this just what it is, I guess, until it's not no more. You know, so it's just the letting go. And like I said, really, I try to stay in a positive mind frame. So for me, it does come with, you know, reading the Bible, and doing other things that's uplifting. But again, for my path, it's just acknowledging where I'm at and being open to admitting my faults, and being open to admitting that the faults of others are sometimes not necessarily of their own. It's their demons and the spirits that they're battling and things that they've dealt with. And because of their upbringing and what they haven't worked through, you know, or what I think is right at this particular point in time. Because what I think right today might not necessarily even be right. So it's just understanding the flexibility of life. And not holding grudges and being angry all the damn time.
Because so many people be angry.
Life, we need to have some flexibility.
Yeah.
And once I adapted that, it's certain things that I know in my life that's a part of my routine, because we know I'm a routine girl, that I do now that before used to irk my nerves. But it's one particular person in my life that every time I have to have a conversation with her, I'm just like... But the recent time when I had a conversation, I let all that go.
Let it go.
And she was just like, you know, I love talking to you. You're one of my favorite people. And I was just like, again, I don't accept compliments. So I'm thinking like this is some bullshit. But a mutual friend, I was just like, yeah, I went and approached the conversation different. She was just like, I told you she always liked you. She was just like, I could just tell. And I was just like, yeah, well, whatever. I'm still like, it's the blowing smoke. But if I could get out of my head with thinking that people are just saying, it's like, why she got to say that? She didn't even need to say that. You know, it was irrelevant. Yeah. But the conversation was peaceful and it went quicker. But before, when I was I'm sitting there, barely want to talk on the phone. I'm dragging it out, but I just let so much go.
This reminds me, a few episodes back, I told you about how my son's graduation day, I was, you know, so involved with what was going on, and I was receiving a phone call from someone that I was like, why do they keep calling me on this day? Well, and we hadn't talked since. Yesterday, they called me, and I looked at the phone, and I almost didn't answer because I was like, I thought we weren't cool no more. I did. But I answered the phone. There were no apologies. They started talking like nothing happened, but they shared with me that they was going through something that very night before, like some traumatic stuff that human fleshly people, they was embarrassed by it. And I was thinking, you never know what somebody going through. And here I am, like, I'm not answering the phone because it's an important day for me and I still feel that way. But I was like, on the other hand, I did not know what they were going through. And I'm glad that we were able to have a conversation. And I let them know, listen, we don't have to talk every day, but when you're going through something, if you need something, if I can help you, I will.
Just like I just said, communication is so important.
Communication is so important.
And I'm sorry, excuse me.
We don't be communicating.
And a lot of times, you don't even need to know that person's story.
Yes.
You don't need to know that person's story. I feel like this is my takeaway lesson from this. What you just said is knowing that everybody has a story. And how I act, like you said, you still stand by, and I still stand by that too. If it's an important day and I got something going on, don't be blowing up my phone. And you know, Keisha right here about to do my makeup for my wedding. Don't be blowing up my phone. Okay, get somebody else to do
And
it.
don't call me either.
Yeah, so I stand on that, but I'm not going to be like, well, why did they call me 50,000 times and jump to a conclusion?
Yeah.
That's the thing when we jump to a conclusion, because everybody, we're all battling something. And I say all the time, my battle ain't no better than yours. It ain't no bigger. It ain't no easier, because whatever I'm going through at that point, if I feel like my world is coming to an end, God damn it, my world is coming to an end.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's just how I feel. And it doesn't mean if to you, it's just like, oh, I can handle that in my sleep. Well, okay, well, that's good that you've been able to conquer that, because I ain't got there yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's okay. So it's just about just releasing assumptions, conclusions, being able to communicate, not holding grudges. I feel like when I stay in those type of mindsets and just being open, and quite honestly, I'm a little bit more frank now than what I was before, because I have one friend that I meet with every week, and she has a friend that I do not care for. And she tells me things, and I'm okay.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. And it's not that she's telling me things to talk about this friend in a negative way behind her. She's just having a conversation about her interaction with her friend. And because it just don't sit well in my soul, I don't want to engage in that. So she knows. So now to be like, I know you don't want to hear about it. Okay, well, stop. Because you know I don't want to hear about it. So that's the thing on the different conversations that we have now, because I can still be cool with everybody, but there's certain things that I'm going to be like, you know, I don't want to engage in that. I don't want to talk about that. Or if I do say something, it's going to be bare minimum, because I'm not trying to go down that course. I don't want to take that path. I'm trying to stay on the straight and narrow with the tunnel vision, and just like, yeah, that ain't for me. I don't want to talk about it.
And what's funny about this, the phone call I received, like my prayer has been, anybody who's supposed to be removed from my life, keep them removed, and let the people that's supposed to be in my life stay. And that, to me answering that phone call yesterday was God showing me, listen to what she has to say, because she's supposed to be in your life. If not to just be like hanging out or whatever.
It could have been just for that conversation at that moment.
Yeah, it was
not saying that it's not gonna be long term, but we be so pushed out in the future sometimes, where it's just like, and I stand by that too. I'm really trusting God that who's supposed to be in my life is in my life. And I have people that I used to talk to every single day, you know, even if it's just like a text, and I may not talk to them anymore, but it doesn't mean that they're not supposed to be in my life. I understand that now I'm going through certain things where I may not necessarily want to talk. And then I found out that this person, you know, one of the people that I was talking to all the time, that they have things going on just like that situation. So it's just like, oh, okay, it kind of makes sense. It's not necessarily, you know, because again, back to saying this again, like, it's not necessarily jumping to a conclusion that somebody think that somebody talking about them behind their back. Life just be going.
Yeah.
And people, it's a revolving door. People come in and out of your story. And sometimes, you know, they stay a little longer, and sometimes they don't. Because I mean, I love Jordan, but I'm waiting on the day that he revolve out and he with his family and have kids, and I can bring in new characters.
And I'm sure he wait on that too.
I'm ready for my little grandbaby.
Are you?
Yeah, I already got a name picked out. They probably won't use it, but
I do say you cannot.
I do have a name picked out. Yes.
Let me ask you this:
Do
you feel like I know your son is grown and he's dated and everything? The wife he chooses, like, do you pray about that now so you have a good relationship with her?
I do. Let me share something with you. So this is for the viewers. The prayer book, I can't even think of what it is, but while we were reading Proverbs, I was sending my friends prayers for their future husband. As I was reading it, I prayed it for my son.
Okay.
So I do pray for those. So it got to the point where I wasn't even praying for my future husband anymore. I was praying for him to be that man that was in that, because it was bigger than the future husband. That man that she described in those prayers was just, he was the man. He was the God-given discipline and everything that we're looking for of our dreams. That was what she described. And that is what I wanted I was about to say my husband to be. Okay, that's what I want my husband to be. But that's what I was praying for my son. And that's what I want, because I don't want it to be like where I don't like my mother-in-law. I want to be that mother-in-law where she knows, like, I got her back. And one thing about me, and people can say what they want, but my love runs deep, that I can love you like my own.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I have a track record of
Mm-hmm.
that I can love you like you are my own.
Mm-hmm.
And it don't necessarily have to be no blood relation.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I pray for that, for us.
Because you want that, that's the family. That's
Yeah.
starting your own family.
Yeah.
And I pray
And
for
how
this
the
a lot.
generations are going to continue. My son is the last Banks.
He sure is. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I wondered about that because we had never, again, we don't be talking about this stuff.
Yeah, we don't.
So
We don't. I don't know what we be talking about. I guess we don't be
I
talking
don't
about
know either.
nothing. I'm like, we really don't be talking. We talk about, like, oh, you see that TikTok?
Look,
You see 111 today?
Wait a minute. For our conversations to be so deep on here, our conversations outside here be like, girl, let me see you this TikTok.
Yes, they so basic.
So basic. Like, it's so basic. We having those. I mean, every now and then we'll have a deep message.
Word, yeah. But it really don't be.
It'd be so basic. Like, oh my God. Like,
girl, I'm decorating the house. Let me show you this picture I just put on the wall. Like, it be so.
Dude, but this is our fellowship.
Yeah.
So I was asking that because, my son is getting older. He's getting ready to go to college. Everything that's happened with you and your son, I'm getting ready to
enter that stage.
To enter that. And so, like I said, I pay attention to the people around me that have done well with their children. And no matter what difficulties you've had, you've done well with your son. And he's so sweet.
Jordan is so mannerable.
He's so mannerable.
I had to apologize to him yesterday. And we coming on the hour. We had went to the grocery store together. That warmed my heart because I love doing things with Jordan. It's been a very long time since we've done that. And again, that's the morning move. We both in our moving thing.
Yeah.
So like Sunday we went bowling. Then we went to the grocery store. So I had, it was a man, he was kind of blocking the freezer door or whatever it is. And the man was coming in getting a pop. And I had told Jordan, I was like, oh, scoot over, because I noticed the man, Jordan was just like, oh, I'm sorry, excuse me. And here I said, don't apologize to him. He didn't say, excuse me. Like, I stepped into that, what I'm saying, how we can be. Yeah, because that's the thing where it be like, when you are a spiritual being, you are not always loving light on what people need to understand.
Yeah, you're not.
And that little person in me, she be ready to roar.
Especially when it's our kids.
Yes.
Because I think that I cut somebody out by my kids.
Real quick. I don't even think about me. I might be a little bit more meek. But when it comes to him, but then I was just like, I thought about that whole scenario, and I was telling him, I said, you know what? It was nothing wrong with, first of all, the man was talking to his friend. He didn't pay attention to we was even there, didn't even hear none of it. But I told him, I said, as a Black man in America, I don't want you to replay what I told you, because you can act out like, oh, well, my mama said this, and this can get you in a world of trouble.
Yeah.
So I wanted to apologize to him, because that's the one thing that can't nobody tell me that I ain't get that part right. My son is a gentleman first.
He is, because when I come over your house and he come outside, he be like,
he's gonna open the door. He's very polite, mannerable. Like, even when I cook and stuff, it's like, thank you, Ma. Thank you for, thank you for the food. And I remember years ago, one of my friends was just like, her stepchild had said thank you, and she was just like, I can't even, what he's saying thank you for. And I said, it's probably just how he was raised. It wasn't nothing like implying that you were doing something special or that you wasn't supposed to do. He was just being appreciative. I said, because my son say that. I was just like, everybody just raised their kids differently.
Yeah. And
and that's the one thing. Jordan is very mannerable.
He is very mannerable. He's very, very to me, he's been mild mannered. Like he don't get like hype about nothing. Like
yeah, and when he does, oh my, he does. Like it's scary.
yeah.
But yeah,
But
he is
my
very
son is very similar. Like I could be hype about something, he'll be like, okay. He'd be like, I got you.
That's how I was when I was telling him yesterday. I was apologizing for it. And then I was just like, I was going through, because I had cut him off. And I thought about you from doing the podcast. And I'm like, well, he my son. I'm with him all the time. Don't he know I do this? But in my mind, again, because my mind is doing too much.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, he was like, Mom, stop. He's like, listen, whatever you think you do, you do. But you ain't got to apologize for it. It's fine. Okay,
Oh
I'm good. I'm where I'm supposed to be. I'm good. I like my life. Just stop. So, because I guess he felt that I was about to start spiraling.
Child, yeah, that's why I told you when we first started this. You was like, I realized when we watch it back, I cut you off a lot, and I was like, girl, you forgetful. I'm not. Even if you cut me off, it's because I know you're gonna forget what you were saying, and I'm gonna remember what I want to say.
Yes, that's why he was just like, stop, like shut that up, and that's how he was. And I was just like, okay,
girl, but that's how we have to. We said,
but this is back to knowing your people.
Was
you about to say that?
Yes. I was just about to say that. I said, we have said it in so many episodes. Know your people.
Remember your people. Remember your people. So when these people are not in your life right now, remember them. Remember how they treated you. Remember their heart. Don't base it on what nobody else is saying, but remember how they made you feel.
Yeah.
Because that's how you was able to answer that call and know, like, let me just see what's what.
Answered it.
And then it just smoothed everything out.
We just laughed
and sometimes it don't, because I don't feel like I've been wrong, so I'm not looking for an apology for anybody. You know what I'm saying? So I'm okay if you call, we just pick up and keep going. Yeah. But some people might feel like that.
I talk a lot about, and we're going to end, I talk a lot about things that's been done to me, and I haven't received an apology, but I'm okay with not receiving apologies because I understand people choose the path that they take.
And that is exactly why I feel the same way. It's not saying like maybe I might be deserving. So I may tell you the story. And you be like, yeah, you deserve an apology. But it's just like, I don't need one. I'm okay. Yeah. I release. I'm not holding on to nothing. I'm so okay.
My life is great without any apology from anybody. Without any apology from anybody. God blessing me. And none of my blessings gonna cut off if somebody don't apologize to me.
No.
When I say blessings, I'm not talking about material. I'm talking
things
about
just existing in the inside. Yes. Being content. Because that right there is the biggest blessing of them all. Yes. It's not about we need shelter and all of those. That's a part of living and being an adult. But waking up, being content in your body
and having peace of mind,
that's priceless.
I'm not stressed about nobody's apology.
I'm not.
You know, it's not going to change anything for me. Because if somebody apologizes, I'll probably be like, okay. Yes. The one yesterday didn't apologize. We just started talking.
And like I said, I just want whatever is placed on my spirit for me to do so I can keep down my little right path.
You got to stop overthinking and just work in your gift.
That's what I read. I got to work on the gift.
You got to work on your gift. Yeah, work
managing it.
So listen, we started off talking about August. This is let's dedicate this episode to Mama Dorothy because this will show right after the date of her death. And I know you say you don't use it as a celebration of life. I probably say it a little different because I celebrate my mother's life as much as I can to mourn and move. Mm-hmm. So we're going to put this episode in memory of Mama Dorothy and all the people out there who has lost their mothers. You know, losing your mother is
And not
the
even
hardest.
necessarily in the sense of
Death.
no, what I want to say, blood relation.
Blood relation, yeah.
Because there's plenty of people who are mothering or who play that role in other person's life, where it's just like they were like a mother to me.
And I was going to say people who mother may still be alive, but they don't have a relationship. But you don't have a relationship. You know, let's put this in memory of hoping that, you know, sometimes you can't bring that bond back, but that everybody will be at peace, you know, and be happy, because losing our mothers is hard. So we putting this episode in memory of Mama Dorothy Jean Banks, and I'm wearing her favorite color.
Yes, you are.
I didn't even realize that when I
noticed,
that.
And you got the butterflies.
Yeah, I didn't even realize I was wearing her favorite color, but her favorite color was purple. So this is in memory of Mama Dorothy Jean Banks. And
Lidl, my mama Lidl. Oh. That's how she would be like, I'm a Lidl. I'd be like, okay, Ma. I'd be like, Jordan and Elijah, simmer down.
Simmer down. Listen, we want you all to like, listen, subscribe, share with a friend, share with your mother. If your mother's still here, share with a friend that's maybe lost their mother. Share with a friend who got their mother but just need the message. And like and subscribe. We want to hear y'all comments. You know, let us know what you thought about this episode in the comments. And that's all you got, friend?
I do want to say something, because I know that some people have very strained relationships with their mother. Mm-hmm. While a mother is important, but sometimes I really want to step in focusing on, like I said on the last episode, the people that God placed in our lives to fulfill those different roles. Mm-hmm. So just like with my son not having his father here, I was blessed that my father has been here and is still here today.
Yes.
So sometimes, even if it's not your birth mother, there's people that God has placed in your life that has given you the things that you needed in different ways. Yeah. Because even with having my mother here, there's plenty of things that she didn't teach me that you think that a mother might have. Mm-hmm. But she was still my mother, and I still cherish and love and miss her just as much. But I am grateful for everyone that's in my life that has poured into me, that gifted me into being the woman that I am today.
Powerful. I feel that. And on that note, we're going to see you all next week.